He's like, yeah, but what does he do?
He's just a meme guy. He has like influencers in the wild, and he has a bunch of accounts like that that have millions of subscribers.
Influencers in the wild.
He owns influencers in the wild.
Influencers in the wild is amazing. You see people like nearly falling off of fucking cliffs trying to get good pictures of themselves and stuff. Yeah.
Onlyfans.com/Tank Sinatra. He has an OnlyFans. This guy.
He's kind of jacked too. He's like pretty well built.
Yeah.
I like the fact that he's built up his own social media, because sometimes those guys that are able to build up these other platforms, they're not able to really build themselves up that well sometimes, but he's built himself up. But I've been talking to him. We're going to get him here.
Here we go.
Bruh.
Hell yeah.
You've been putting in work. Shit.
I have been,
Let's fucking go.
Yeah. Yeah, I think there's a lot we can learn from the meme daddy.
Yeah. Oh, shit.
Right?
Okay. That's going to be awesome.
Yeah. I tried to meet up with him when I was in New Jersey, because he lives out that way somewhere, but he's like, I'm still like 3 hours away, and it'd be like a lot of traffic. He's like, but I'll fly out to Sacramento tomorrow. Let me know.
Nice.
So I've been just going back and forth with him. I'm trying to figure out a date.
It is always fun when, whether it's you're not familiar with the area, but if somebody's like, hey, I'm going to be in San Diego, I was thinking about maybe we can hang out. Like,
swing by Sacramento.
Like, sure. Go ahead and drive the like 13 hours. Like, oh, it's not. Nope.
Not close at all.
Nope.
I used to be really bad with geography too.
I still am.
I still am. Like, it's like sometimes someone will say, oh yeah, San Diego. And I'll be like, oh yeah, quick drive. And then I'm like, wait, no. That's on the other side. That's SoCal. That's not NorCal. I mix up San Diego and San Jose all the time.
That makes sense.
Yeah, San Jose is only like hour and a half, 2 hours.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I'm bad where like, this is very specific to the area, but like Natomas. So everything basically from like the airport to like the mall, like Arden Mall, that's all Natomas to me.
Oh wow, you're really bad.
And then everything like on 80, like from Natomas over, like that's that entire planet over there. We're talking like Rockland, Citrus Heights, all that. That's all Roseville. It doesn't matter what it is.
Yeah, dude, you know, it's so fucking, it's still so wild to me that people really used to live without maps, as in without like Google Maps or Apple Maps, because I imagine if I had to try to get
MapQuest,
around,
motherfucker, that shit was difficult.
Yeah, there was
how about a Thomas guide? You guys know about
Thomas
those?
guide?
Yeah.
What is that?
You would whip out
atlas.
like you'd have it like in the back, that little back pouch of your seat.
That's why we have those.
Yeah, so you'd reach over to like the passenger side seat, and you'd pull this giant fucking book that looks like these two notebooks put together, and you would like try to figure out, you're on the side of the road and you're crinkling your papers and shit. Cars and trucks are fucking zooming by you and stuff, and you're like trying to figure out where you're going in Los Angeles. You're like, what's the 5 freeway connect to? The 101? You're like, oh my god.
But then so
wow,
terrifying.
On top of that though, like you get it and it's like this, but then you unfold it to get to something, and it's you can't put it back together. Like you're you're ruined for life. Like there's no way you can get it back.
It's massive. And then you do the most unsafe thing ever, and you just put it on your steering wheel and try to drive with that in front of your face, and it like covers up everything. You
Always
can't see shit.
Coffee stains all over it.
Oh yeah. I told Jessica, I said, because she's going to the Midwest, and so I said, you know, take your phone and take whatever directions you got, and I said, get rid of them, just go to a gas station and buy a Thomas guide and have the most amazing time getting there. I was like, it'll take you like 6 weeks, but you'll have the best time ever. She's like, oh my god. She's like, I can't do that. She's like, I'd get so lost.
It's so scary.
It's so weird. You guys really experienced all of that. You see, like I was like,
we're like Neanderthals.
You guys are like dinosaurs, because I was like 10 or 11 when the internet. So like I grew up with that stuff. I vaguely remember, you know, MapQuest. You happen to use that, but
that's funny.
Wow.
MapQuest was a bitch though too, because it would only get you like near the location. It wouldn't get you actually to it. And you're like, that place is around here somewhere. I know that fucking 24-hour fitness is around here somewhere.
Yeah. And then so it was also like very, very thorough in like leaving your house. So like you're going to make, you know, left here, right there, left here, and then, you know, take your first right, and that's going to be I-5. It's like, fuck, dude, you, like that's 4 pages just to get me there. But I remember when like people would be like, oh, what's the address? I'm like, there's address. All right, cool. See you guys there. With no internet, period.
Oh.
Like, how the fuck did you guys find anything?
Right.
And this, I mean, yeah, that's wild.
What's the best way and the fastest way to get going in the right direction when you are using your phone for directions?
That I don't know.
Wait, what?
What's the fastest way to get headed in the right direction when you're not sure which way to go, and your phone's telling you, go head north on blah, blah, blah.
Yeah,
head right on.
Because I have no idea. So I actually legit do not know, because there's been times where it's like even pulling out of my house, like, because I'm still trying to figure out street names and stuff. And it's like, head north towards this street. And I'm just like, I think that's this one. And then it's like, I look down, it's rerouting, telling me to make a U-turn, because I have no fucking clue.
It's problematic that we don't know where north, south, east, or west.
Yeah, I don't know.
I
have
don't.
No idea. No.
We're not real men.
Some people in the comments can be like, "You guys are dumbasses." Well, we know.
Yeah.
Follow the stars. Fuck you. We don't know. What I was going to say is it's a little bit like a life lesson. You just go whatever way you think first. You just start.
Oh, wow.
And it turns out you're going the wrong way, and your phone tells you to fucking make a U-turn 75 times, right? Kind of like screwing on like a shaker cup top. You just like kind of go...
Done with shaker cups.
Like you go backwards a couple times to like kind of thread it, right? And then you go the right way.
So
man, that's deep.
Philosophy.
I know.
That's deep.
Yeah.
It is, right? Going deep in the paint.
Yeah. But what's even worse is when you are going the wrong way and the GPS on your phone is telling you like, no, you got to go 800 miles this way, and then you got to turn right, and then you got to go, and it's like, or you could just make an illegal U-turn. How about we do that?
Right.
Like, fuck off, man. You should have just told me that in the first place.
You know what's really difficult is when you're walking. That's hard to figure out. You're like, I'm going to walk the wrong way for a little while, a couple paces.
Yeah.
But a lot of times they can't really tell where you are.
Yeah.
That kept happening to me in New York City, and I was just so screwed.
Gosh,
I'm like, I'm like, I know I'm supposed to go like this way somewhere, but I'm so close but yet far away. Because if you walk like half a block, it's like that's kind of a ways to walk, just to have to walk back the other way just to find out the phone doesn't actually know where the fuck you are.
That's unfortunate. That's very unfortunate.
It's a lot of walking. That's a lot of sweating, and that's why you might need some electrolytes.
Hey.
Yes, it is.
Right?
Every single day.
Every day.
Every single day. Actually, I was having to call someone this morning. He was like, "How much is too much?" And I was like, "You could just do 2 to 3." Yeah. Workout days, I usually do 3 of those, and off days, I usually do 2.
Well, I never have off days. It's like a gram of sodium, right?
A gram of sodium.
Shot to the dome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know why I just noticed that
1,000
milligrams equals a gram.
Excuse me. What?
Huh?
Okay. I'm not going to even. Okay.
I don't do history, math, what did you call it?
Geography,
geometry, or geometry.
Yeah, geometry's tough.
Yeah, I don't really do any of those, so it doesn't add up.
Conversions.
Oh gosh, the worst.
Yes, but yeah, a gram of sodium.
Dividing fractions.
Oh my god,
long division, all that shit. Fucking math.
Long division's okay, but having to do anything with fraction, I just had to tell my daughter, like, hey, I'm going to Google it. I'm sorry, but like that, I don't know this stuff.
It's 138 over 2.
I have no idea.
69.
Can I get it? Hey now.
Should have known that one. All right. But yeah, guys, Element's fucking awesome. You feel it. That's why it's one of those supplements that we always take, because we feel the difference. A lot of supplements are good, but when you don't feel it, it's like you get inconsistent, like my vitamin D. Creatine, I'm very inconsistent, but Element's one of those supplements that I don't forget to take because I know what I feel like when I'm not hydrated.
And it's massively helpful if you're on like a low carbohydrate diet, you're trying to improve your body composition, because we know that you're in somewhat of a caloric deficit. That alone kind of makes you feel poopy, and having the right electrolytes in your body will kind of balance you out, make you feel a little bit better, and your workout performance will be better. And that's a huge kind of undersold component to fitness in general. Like everyone's always talking about getting lean and dropping weight, dropping body fat and things like that, but we have to have killer workouts. It has to be at the forefront of everything, and a way to have a killer workout is to make sure you got the right nutrition, make sure you get those electrolytes in there.
Absolutely. And what's awesome is my wife drinks it, my daughter now drinks it, and then we had a little bit left in a shaker cup, and we said, fuck it, and then gave some to my son, and right away, dude, he freaks out. He starts reaching for it. He's 7 months old. He's already drinking Element electrolytes, and I think it's gonna be okay. Should be fine. It's only a little bit.
Yeah, Mark. It's funny that like Mark always leaves half of these fucking packs around. I know
they're literally everywhere.
Without fail, I can find half of a chocolate Element pack somewhere in the podcast room.
Yeah,
not only that, but like the whole gym, like this, like both studios,
everywhere. Oh my god,
I love the product. I actually like that it's salty, but in my coffee, I kind of like to use like half a packet per thing of coffee because I drink like 2 or 3 cups of coffee too.
Yeah.
So I try to sprinkle it out.
Yeah,
I'm glad I can provide some stuff for you guys. How about that Fairlife too, by the way? That shit.
Oh God.
We'll talk about that next. But for more information on Element, head over to drinklmnt.com/power project. I don't know if they're still doing the free recharge packs, but if they are, make sure you guys take advantage of that ASAP. But get a value bundle that's getting 4 boxes of these amazing Element electrolytes for the price of 3. No code needed. Just check the links down in the description as well as the podcast show notes. Again, drinklmnt.com/power project. Ooh, that's a nice stir.
Yes.
I was going to say, you got so much care for that over there. I would love for you to be my barista. I've never seen him put so much time and effort into something.
It has to stir well, man. It has to mix.
He's delicate with it. Yeah.
There we go. This is going to be delectable. All right.
But I will say that the Fairlife in hot coffee is not good.
Really? Why?
Because I just feel like I don't know, it like cooks the protein.
Oh,
not like protein powder where it
can
like
get weird,
where it coagulates it. It just like cooks out the flavor, and you're left with like.
So try it just with warm rather than hot.
Yes,
that might work pretty well. I don't know what Nsima is doing, but it's
making
weird.
a bigger mess.
I'm sorry,
that
I'm not making
probably
a
have
big
to
mess.
clean up later.
No, you're not gonna have to clean it up.
I hope
not, because we're actually doing pretty good now.
Yeah,
And
the
Nsima's
more we
been
get
better.
to know him, the more miserable my life gets.
The more you know. That was online, but
it was. Yeah, but your giant fucking sun kiss.
It's because it's damn sun-kissed box,
I'm
man.
right here. I could see that it hit the front of the rim. Not my sun-kissed box.
That's so good.
Orange soda.
Yeah,
that's very specific. You drink a lot of that?
I do. I do.
No, I didn't say anything.
I do not think that Mexicans drink more orange soda than any other flavor.
Happy you said it. Thank you.
Yeah, because it's funny because in Mexican culture, like they can't say Pepsi correctly. It has a K
What
for
do
some
they
reason.
say?
Pepsi. I don't know why, where that came from.
That's
so
awesome.
I know for a fact that they drink a lot of Pepsi.
Maybe that's why they just always ask for Coke.
But no, they don't think it's. They're like, obviously they're like, oh yeah, I probably got an accent or whatever. But I don't think they really think. I don't know. I've never had to correct my mom on it. She can pronounce it correctly.
Yeah.
But I have seen many Mexicans pronounce that Pepsi.
You drink a lot of diet stuff, right?
Yeah. I drink a lot of the zeros.
What are some of your faves that keep you on plan, keep you on point?
So for sure, the Sunkist Zero is by far the best. Let's just call it a diet soda because that's just really what they are. It doesn't taste anything like a diet soda. It doesn't taste like it's missing anything. To me, it's the best one. That one is like you're having a party when you're drinking that, and you have nothing to worry about. I also like Coke Zero. That kind of similar thing. It tastes very similar to the original, but that one has a little bit more bubbles than the original one. So like you end up burping quite a bit.
And for you.
And I burp a lot anyway, so that kind of messes me up already. That one.
We need to burp him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that'd be great, actually. We should do that. That and then the root beer. I forgot what it's just root beer zero. I forgot which one.
Wasn't it Chris that just mentioned like the diet A&W with some heavy cream or something? Was it Chris who mentioned that?
Yeah. I gotta try that. Yeah. So that one's really good because it again tastes exactly like the regular one. If you're a fan of root beer, I'm not the biggest fan, but I will drink that one a lot more now.
Dude, dumping some Element into some of these things is fucking a party and a half.
Really?
But it does like cause like nuclear explosions.
Yeah, because it'll
so you gotta be
foam like
careful.
crazy.
But if you take like that orange Sunkist and you take like I don't know, like the lemon lime whatever electrolytes.
My God, I'm gonna do that.
It's so good. But I mean, it's crazy sweet. But like I'm former fat kid. I love that.
Dude,
shit.
I'll take it. But yeah, so I switched to the I think it's just Mug Zero. I'm sorry, I'm terrible.
Sounds good.
Mug Zero?
Yeah, like the mug root beer.
Oh, okay.
I switched to that later on in the days because I was drinking too many Coke Zeros, and that has, I think, like 48 milligrams of caffeine. And so it just has a little bit too much. And if you're having, 2 or 3 in the afternoon, it's like, whoa, dude, like I'm going against everything that I tell people, which is like, hey, like limit the caffeine towards the end of the day. And here I am having a pretty good dose. So I'm like, man, I got to stop this. I like it. It's my favorite one, but well, the Sun-Kissed is my favorite one.
You see any problems with this, Nsima? Like drinking, these drinks? Because we get asked that question quite a bit, like having Coke Zero and all that stuff.
I honestly don't. As long as it doesn't open any dark doors for people where they're like, they start to crave other things and then they make mistakes. I think it's perfectly okay. Like I have Diet Ginger Ale. Diet Ginger Ale is my thing. Like Diet Ginger Ale is like so good. And when I can find the Zero Sugar Sun-Kissed, but I don't see a problem with it, really. Some people are on the artificial sweeteners are bad for you and whatever. You've never given me much issue, and I just don't go too crazy. Don't drink a whole. What's the size called? Is it
3 liter or 2 liter?
A liter, yeah. Don't drink a whole 2 liter every day, and you're good.
What about with fasting? Because sometimes I see you with like a little bit of knick-knacky stuff, and some people would sweat it, and they'd be like, I'm not actually fasting. Like, this breaks my fast. But it seems like you don't really care. I think that maybe for you, you just simplify it by like eating or not eating.
Yeah, pretty much. There'll be some days where I'm more stringent on my fasts, where like it's just coffee, no cream in the coffee or whatever, and some electrolytes. But days like this, like I had a protein shake. In that I've had quite a bit of calories today because of the drink and the heavy cream and the protein shake.
400 calories, maybe 500.
Probably 300. Probably like 300 because of the heavy cream in there. But I'm not really tripping on it because it's not gonna. I don't feel hungry. Like I still don't feel hungry. Right. I think that's one interesting thing that happens. Initially something like this, when I started fasting, would have made me hungry. But now I think just because I have better hunger control, something like this, I could finish it and I'm still good to wait until the evening to eat a meal. So I'm not really tripping on it. It doesn't bother me much anymore.
Do you think that with like the mindset change, it's almost like if you do get a little hungry, you have something like that and you're just like kind of suppressing the hunger all of a sudden?
What do you mean? Like something like this?
Yeah. So like with me this morning before my workout, I was like, fuck, dude, I'm hungry. Like I probably should eat, like whatever. All these thoughts going through my head. And then I had Element. And then all of a sudden I'm like, no, I'm good. Like having flavor, having something in my stomach just made me feel like, I literally didn't feel hungry anymore.
That's super helpful. That's super helpful. There's caffeine in here, so that helps.
Okay, I was going to say, so do you think it's more mental or it's actually, but yeah.
There's both. Yeah. It's a 2-part component. There's caffeine in there. It's an appetite suppressant, but I've also been doing this for a while and I'm used to this. So it's like, that's why it's not difficult. One interesting thing when I was having a conversation with this guy this morning is he said he did keto for about, for 3 months, maybe 3 months. And then he went back to, and before he did keto, he had massive cravings all the time. He was never able to really be in control of his diet. And then when he went back and started adding carbs in or more carbs, so maybe he's having 250, 300, he can now do that. And he doesn't have crazy cravings anymore. Like he doesn't have cravings like he did before keto. So there's something that happened during keto. Maybe when he got fat adapted, where when he came out of it, he doesn't feel like he can look at ice cream and not be like, I need to eat all of it, right? I just wonder what that is.
I think for some people, this could happen on any dietary intervention where you start to have success. I think your eyes get really open wide to a lot of the foods that you like, and you actually recognize they're pretty nutritious for you.
Yeah.
And for some people, I noticed this a little bit more with guys than I have with women, but it's not just men, but a lot of times guys like to eat fatty food. They like to eat like whole eggs and cheese and bacon and sausage and cheeseburgers, steaks and things like that. And so they're like, if that means like I don't eat bread and chips. Whereas sometimes with some females, they are a little bit more snacky. They like crunchy stuff. This is just my own experience with helping people. So I don't know, I don't know what's true and what's not true with different people, but just from what I've seen. And I think what happens is over time, people start to kind of lean into that. And they're like, I found foods that I like. There's really no reason for me to go completely overboard on those other foods.
Yeah.
Something I noticed about fasting that's also interesting, I think we should just kind of lean into this topic for today, even though we were scheduled to talk about something slightly different.
All right, let's go.
Might as well just keep rolling with this. Is that doing little things like what you're doing now, with that drink, you know, having like, we'll just call it like a bulletproof coffee, right? Like a bulletproof coffee is the idea that came from whoever and then kind of was made popular by Dave Asprey. It's just coffee with fat in it. And there's nothing special about coffee with fat in it. However, caffeine can help suppress the appetite. There's some evidence that even just drinking things that are hot can suppress the appetite. This is why bone broth and soups and bouillon cubes and stuff like that can work pretty good. And then in addition to that, you're putting fat in there, which the idea behind having fat is that you still didn't actually technically, I mean, technically you're consuming calories. However, a ketogenic diet, one of the great benefits of it is it mimics fasting. So because you're not eating any carbohydrates, you're not doing any, you know, you're not doing anything to like your insulin levels. This is all, I want to just say that this is all like hearsay. I'm not trying to give people science. Okay. This is just the information that the way I understand it. So it kind of doesn't count as a meal. However, it does count as calories. But can you blunt your hunger enough with something that has, you know, somewhere between 100 to 300 calories in it? I would say like that is something to pay attention to. We don't want to be bombarding ourselves with tons of calories for no reason. Can it blunt the calories enough so that when you discontinue your quote unquote fast, you don't overeat? And I have found personally that the answer for me has been yes. And this is how everything got started for me in the first place. And it's why I wrote so much about it in the War on Carbs. I'd start every morning off a lot of times with a bulletproof coffee, but then I started actually kind of switching it being more of a fat drink to it being a fat and protein drink. And that's when things started to change even further for me, because there was just a reduction in calories in that first meal. And I also, got hungry later in the day. And then when it was time to eat, I also learned to start to eat less.
Yeah. And I mean, there is the benefit. Is that a little...
I think so. COVID.
Oh,
there's the word.
Oh, no.
Podcast lingo.
Yeah. But, you know, there's also the benefit of like, you know, sometimes we'll do one meal where we have like one big meal and all our proteins in it. But you know, if you're someone who you want to use fasting and you're like, oh, but I don't want to have that one big meal of protein, you know, you could have a bit of protein in whatever, your coffee or a protein shake in the morning. And you could spread that out if that's something that you want to do, and it can be beneficial. So there's no reason not to do that. I know some people are like, but the autophagy is not but I'm not really tripping about all that. So
I think you still get, I think you still get health benefits when you just lose weight.
Yeah,
you
absolutely.
know, you start to shed body fat, you start to get leaner. Not that being lean or being jacked is a sign of health necessarily, but
most of the time it is.
A lot of times it is. Yeah, a lot of times it just is. So, but I also want to make sure people understand that, like, you know, maybe some dude on Instagram that you see that's 275 pounds and shredded, maybe he's not the picture of health, and maybe that's not the goal. But in general, yes, losing weight is America's biggest issue. Not only losing weight, but trying to keep that weight off. My wife and I started a diet a couple days ago, which is really just kind of silly and kind of fun. But my wife and I were on a trip somewhere, and she saw somebody posted something from Vogue Magazine in the 70s, and it was the most ridiculous diet. And then I paused for a minute and I was like, you know what? We should actually do that diet because it sounds so weird that we should just give it a go. So it's a bottle of wine a day diet. And you're
doing this?
Yeah, we're 3 days into it right now. And mainly you're only supposed to do it for like 3 days, but I'm going to do it for like about a week.
Are you having a bottle of wine, or are you guys splitting a bottle of wine?
No, I'm having a bottle of wine every day.
Jesus Christ. Okay.
It's actually like halfway easy, but yet halfway hard, especially because I'm not home for a big part of the day. So to drink, you know, first thing out of the gate, maybe for some folks is enjoyable, but not for me. It's kind of weird.
You got to drink wine for breakfast? Like,
yeah, drinking wine, yeah. So today I went on.
So Mark's slightly lit right now.
No. Well, maybe.
No, I could stop anytime I want.
Yeah, I just need a couple more bottles. No, so I went on my walk run this morning.
Yeah.
I don't know. I did that for like 90 minutes or something like that. And then went back to my house. I took a shower. I had a coffee before I left for my run, because coffee is part of it too. And then, then I had like probably about a half a glass of wine is what I had this morning, with some hard boiled eggs. So the diet is this. You don't really need a pen for this because it's not a lot to remember, but it's supposed to be 1 hard boiled egg, a glass of wine, a cup of coffee. The next thing for lunch, it's 2 hard boiled eggs, 2 glasses of wine, cup of coffee. With dinner, it's a glass of wine, a steak, and that's it.
Okay.
So that's the diet. And you're pretty much done, because that kind of equals out to be nearly an entire bottle of wine, depending on your pouring, depending on how you pour your drinks. And when my wife was telling me that, she, sent me the meme that shows you the diet or whatever. Right. So I was like, there's, I was like, sounds really dumb, but I actually think there's some like legitimate information behind some of this. Like, I don't think someone just was completely winging it. So I sent it over to our buddy Joel Green.
Oh God.
And he's like, this actually makes a lot of sense. He says, especially with drier wines, because wine can be thermogenic. So some people, you'll hear some people sometimes say that wine will stop the fat burning process because it's poisonous to you. Yeah, alcohol in general, right? So there is definitely some truth to that. You do have to process it. But how many times have you, been cold, but then had some drinks and you're like, you no longer need a jacket anymore, right?
You're right.
So alcohol is thermogenic. I'm not trying to promote this to like say everyone, but the point is that you can have some fun in your diet and you could still make progress. And that's been shown many times with things like flexible dieting and so forth. So this has been fun for me. I'm not only eating those foods because that's way too little of food for me. So instead of having 1 hard boiled egg, I'm having like 3 or 4 at lunch. Instead of just having 2, I'm having like 5 or 6. And
so you are doing the egg thing, like
I am doing the egg thing, and I am doing the steak. And my whole point in bringing it up in the first place is that if you have it sounds like a tiny amount of food, especially for a bigger person, but if you have even just a couple of hard-boiled eggs, I'll let you determine how many is a couple or a few. If you have a few hard-boiled eggs in the morning, they're pretty stifling in terms of your hunger.
They'll satiate you.
They'll satiate the shit out of you, especially if you don't know how to cook them. If you kind of overcook them a bit and they're super dry in the middle, it's like some tough sledding getting through those things.
Yeah.
But I was fortunate enough to find a hard-boiled egg cooker on Amazon for a very inexpensive price. It cooks up 6 eggs at a time. You can get an even bigger one if you want. But what it does is it pokes a tiny little hole in the egg. And then you put it in this like tray and you dump water in there in accordance to how you want your eggs to turn out. And it doesn't hard boil them. It like steams them. And the middle is like bright orange. And it's fucking awesome.
I'm buying that right now.
Is that like it? This one? Or?
Yeah, what's the thing called?
So this one's just a double cooker, rapid broiler poker.
That's it.
Bella 17 is 17290. Okay.
Yeah, it's only $20.
I'm getting that right now. Yeah. Dude, that sounds amazing.
It's amazing. It will change your life, especially if you're somebody who's like, hard-boiled eggs are disgusting.
Yeah.
You will not think hard-boiled eggs are disgusting. You'll have to put salt and seasoning on them, of course, because they are gross. But
is it a pain in the balls to crack open the shells?
No, it doesn't. To peel the shell?
Yeah.
No, so it's actually easier to pull the shell off as well.
That's the only thing that prevents me from.
It's not super easy to do that, but what's recommended is that you let your eggs rest for a little bit. So there is a little bit of time. It can be a little time consuming. It only takes 7 minutes to cook. That's 6-7 minutes to cook. It kind of does everything automatically. You can kind of let it just sit there and forget it, but you're better off paying attention to it and taking it back out. Yeah, you can see all the video of it right there. Oh yeah, it does a bunch of other shit too. You can kind of do your eggs like
omelet.
Oh my God.
Over medium and shit like that too.
Oh, yeah, I was gonna ask about the poached eggs.
You just, my life is shit.
Poached eggs
great.
are so good.
Damn, that looks good. Oh my gosh.
$20. See, guys, men, we can
look
cook.
at that omelet.
Wow, this is amazing.
What's that thing that she put it in?
Anyway, so when I cooked them today, I set it all up and then I went in the shower, and when I came out, it was just like sitting there, you know. It's a good idea though to put the eggs in some like ice or ice water to try to really cool them down, and then it'll be easier to peel them after that.
Okay.
Or just like put them in the fridge or something. But peeling them is always a pain in the ass. But because you have that poked hole in there already, it kind of makes the whole process a little easier.
As far as the wine's concerned, does the wine have to be dry, or could it be like a red, or do they suggest something? So
it doesn't matter a ton. And I don't think you need to like aggressively go after a whole bottle of wine. You know, the first day I was like, man, I kind of have a lot to go. And I'm like, wait a second, you dumbass. You don't have to drink the entire, there's not like a specific advantage to drinking an entire bottle, you know? So I was like, just put that fucker in the fridge. But the idea is to have a little bit. I kind of think that when we talk about kratom, we talk about taking like Mind Bullet and how it helps us with fasting.
Yeah.
I think that being a little tipsy or being a little high. I was going to say, like, yeah, puts you in a little bit better mood. And, you know,
drunk, pretty much being a little
walking around hammered all the time. It's amazing for you.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Okay. Just so for all of you who are actually about to attempt this if you're going to attempt this, please make sure that do not drive a motor vehicle or a car after having your 2 glasses in the afternoon. All right, wait about an hour and a half.
Yeah, if you handle heavy equipment for work, if you if you utilize a chainsaw at work,
jackhammer or some shit.
Yeah, be fucking careful. My wife, though, who's already in great shape, she lost 7 pounds from doing it. So it's like, I know it's, I know it's silly.
It's wild.
I mean, it comes down to calories, right?
It does. It does.
I'm not trying to say that it's because of this magic recipe of hard-boiled eggs and alcohol.
Calories.
But it ultimately comes down to some calories. But anyway, that hard-boiled egg cooker is fucking awesome.
Yeah.
It's really, really good.
Man. Well, I mean, the diet sounds enjoyable.
It feels good so far.
Yeah.
Today's our 21st wedding anniversary, and so
okay.
Happy anniversary.
Thank you.
That's
happy anniversary, man.
Yeah, we don't care a ton about like that kind of stuff. I feel, you know, not to be too corny, but I feel like we celebrate every day.
Okay.
We really do appreciate each other a lot. We tell each other that often. We're pretty affectionate with each other. Just, you know, we've stayed in close contact for the entire duration that I've known her, which is, I don't know, 23 or 24 years.
Woo.
And, you know, there were some changes when we had kids. Like when kids come around, like it just makes everything harder. It makes intimacy at every level. It makes it more difficult. But, you know, we've gotten through all that. Our kids are older now, and so we do enjoy each other a lot. So a lot of times when it's like a birthday or Valentine's Day, like neither one of us really care that much, but we're just like, hey, let's figure out something to do together. But she's not one of those women that like, you know, holds any of those things over my head, like a birthday or an anniversary or Valentine's Day, which is really
so
nice.
Lucky. Oh, God. That sounds great.
You forgot what today is, you son of a bitch.
Yeah, right?
Again?
Oh, man. You don't, oh, my God. This is one of the nice things currently being single, because, man, Valentine's Day and all those shits, like, oh.
Just tell girls off the bat, I don't believe in that shit.
You know, you try, but then when they do, you're like, fuck, they like it.
You just say,
no, they always
nah,
care.
you just tell them flat out, say, hey, when it's my birthday, I expect really fucking awesome presents. I want shit to be off the charts. But for your birthday and Valentine's Day, I don't like celebrating on it.
Oh,
so
man,
this is what
amazing.
it's going to be like to be with me.
So
we're
actually going to have technically 2 wedding anniversaries.
What? Oh, what? What's happening?
So we got married last year, March, April, May 13th.
Okay.
So it was when everything was shut down, so we couldn't actually make it official. And with like the world kind of getting weird, I had this weird, like, I don't know, thing that happened in my head where I'm like, man, what if one of us gets sick? And they're like, oh, only family can be like in the room or whatever. I'm like, no, that's my husband. Like, well, it doesn't show on paper. And so like that freaked me out. And like, okay, it's been long enough. Like we should definitely make this official. So we're actually going in the middle of next month to like basically get married again.
Oh, in court.
Yeah, within court.
Hey.
So yeah,
That's great.
We're gonna have two. We'll have one like real one, and then one kind of like official on paper one.
Yeah.
So we'll have two.
Congratulations.
I thought you made it pretty official with that baby.
Yeah, like,
Yeah, when she's a short Latina. I'm definitely gonna
I don't
stitch
get the
that.
joke.
That's
Yeah,
so good.
that's so good. Oh my god,
Amazing.
They don't know what we're talking about, man. I feel like you need to pull up the video or something.
Stephanie's so great though. I was like, hey, check this out, because I'm laughing and she's just like, I'm not sure what I'm looking at, and I was just like, I was like, imagine, and then she's like, oh, like she finally got it.
The people are wondering about the video. You have to somehow pull it up.
I can maybe email myself.
Since this episode is just kind of going in different places, I'm curious, man. I'm very curious about this. When you married Andy, because in my head, man, I don't fucking get wedding rings. I don't get them. And even if you have like the money for them, right? I still just like don't see the legitimacy. I don't see why it's important. Like you're going to put 5 or 10 grand in on this ring. Yeah. That's like a rock on your finger. Like you could put that towards so many useful, efficient things. But you want a ring? Why don't I just give you like a ring that looks good?
Yeah, right. We could have a lot of nice things together.
Yeah.
Rather than just having a ring.
Yeah. Yeah. Little.
So how did you guys feel about like what happened there? I'm just curious.
I totally agree with that. You know, I think that women place a high value assignment on that. You know, they kind of look forward to that. That's something that maybe they think about, or maybe it's slowing down nowadays or something. I'm not sure, but I think that that was a thing. I think that women would often think about like their wedding day, and they would think about getting a big old fat diamond ring and, you know, marrying their knight in shining armor or something like that.
Yeah.
Andy just is different, you know. Her sister has described her as an alien before, and I think that she might be kind of accurate with that. Andy is just kind of different. She doesn't really care about that much stuff. However, you know, when we did have the money to do that, you know, sort of thing, to like upgrade her ring,
yeah,
she's like, fuck yeah, like let's do it, you know.
That's cool. Yeah.
But the ring that I, you know, put on her finger when we got married was just a family heirloom, just something that was in the family, and it was like, hey, it's free, it's easy for me to do, you know. And bam, I ain't got much of a job, so here you go.
That worked out. And
you know, she didn't marry me for anything other than just who I was. You know, I had nothing. I didn't have, when we first met, I didn't have a car. I didn't have a driver's license. All I had was a lot of like tickets in New York. So I couldn't even have a license in New York, but I lived in California. I had a job, but I barely had a job.
A lot of debt.
Yeah, a lot of debt. Yeah, tons of debt. Yeah. I was a bum. So, yeah, I mean, I'm grateful that we met in the first place, because I think it's been transformative for both of us. I think she probably in the beginning helped me out a lot more than I was able to help her. At least that's my vantage point of the whole thing. I don't know what she thinks about it, but I was just trying to figure stuff out, and she gave me the breathing room to be able to figure stuff out, and she gave me the breathing room to just be who I am and just care about like lifting. That's all I cared about, was lifting and getting strong and getting jacked. And she was like, all right, cool. I don't know why she put up with that, you know, or however you want to say that. I don't know why, but we just dug each other. So it worked.
Damn.
Yeah. It's weird. Like, cause I've been in past relationships where I definitely wouldn't have been able to, I'm going to say it like this. It's not bad, but like I wouldn't have been able to get away with the things I get away with now. But
you make it sound bad, but I know what you mean.
But no, like,
you're not getting, yeah.
You know, like sometimes I'll go home and I'll be like, hey babe, like it's another bad term to be using, but I'm like, hey, I'm gonna do my like second shift where I'll work on stuff for the podcast or something. Like I'm gonna pause time with you to go do this or whatever. Like she's cool with that. She's cool with us buying like gym equipment and putting it in our living room. Like there's a lot of like, it's just weird. Like some of the shit that she puts up with.
How about eating without her, or how about watching a TV show without her?
Yeah, see that's actually harder in our family. you know, she's so loving. She wants to just be around me a lot, you know? So it's like, if I like, hey, I'm going to go to the next room and watch, you know, a glitch in the Matrix.
Or the 49ers or whatever.
Yeah. But no, she's like, no, just like, we'll watch it right here. And I can tell she just doesn't give a fuck about this.
Right.
This,
She just wants to be around Zaddy.
Yeah. She just wants to hang out. And so it's like, it's really cool. And yeah, I don't know. It's like, when it works, it just fucking works. It's
because for us, like, it doesn't, some stuff doesn't matter that much. Like I see some couples really care. Like if one person has lunch without the other person, or didn't call the other person saying that they grabbed a fucking sandwich or something, the other one gets like kind of mad. Like they get kind of, they argue with each other a little bit.
I used to get a text if I went out to lunch. I'm like, wow, so lunch must have been great, huh?
Yeah, we don't. So we don't.
I'm not joking.
Wait, like, is this from Jasmine or somebody?
No. It's a previous relationship.
Okay, good. We had to clarify that.
Yeah, sorry.
Okay.
It was. I was like, oh, okay.
So yeah, we don't have any of that. And I love when she's hanging out with her friends. You know, she'll be like, "Oh, I'm hanging out with my friend," and like I'm just calling her because I'm heading home from here, just saying like, "Hey, I'll probably be home in 20 minutes or something like that." And then in terms of like shows though, she's kind of seen everything, and I don't understand how. Like I don't understand how she has time for it, so I'm always kind of like confused. But she's like, "I'll just watch it with you anyway."
Oh,
just like
TV
Netflix
shows,
or something like that, or any of those kinds of things. So.
I don't get how, like you've mentioned that like y'all are hella busy, and she especially is hella busy. So how has she watched all of this shit? Like where does she find the time?
I don't know. She's a crazy person. She's like sitting at home sometimes, like just doing a puzzle, and like she'll have you know her little thing on her phone. She'll just have like a show playing on her phone while she's doing something else. And April's the same way. April will be like doing dishes and like doing all kinds of shit at the house, and you know, watching the kids and like doing all kinds of stuff. And she's got like the phone playing, and she's got her headphones in, and she's like listening / watching a show. And then if you were to stop her and say, "Hey, what are you watching?" she would tell you exactly what she's watching. She would tell you exactly what the fuck's going on with it.
Yeah.
And I don't get it. I'm like, I could sit in front of the TV for 3 hours and watch 3 episodes in a row of the same show, and you could come in the room and say, "Hey, what are you watching?" I'd say, "I don't know."
Yeah.
That is a trend that I've seen. That is something I've seen women can do.
No, I was gonna say all those studies about like
magic powers.
Like the brain can't multitask. Like if you think you can, you're lying to yourself. Like I think those studies were done on dudes.
I really do, because I've seen women do that. Other women do that, and I'll just be like, "How are you being so efficient at your job while your iPad is going and you're watching this show? You know what's going on, but you're still working." I can't do that. No way in hell. That's so weird.
Yeah.
I can barely get through 1 or 2 things in a day, period.
Oh, yeah. POV, she's a short Latina. If you guys are watching this via YouTube, you'll see what we're talking about.
Every time.
I wonder like what it was originally made for. Like what is that?
But I like touching the walls. It's a fire too. What the fuck?
I'm glad that like social media like you know brought some real randomness to the world.
Oh yeah, it has.
Memes,
it
man.
Definitely has.
Especially TikTok, man. TikTok is fun, bro. The things on there, you don't see that shit anywhere else.
No. I just really like that we do have social media now, because back in my day, you had to be like on a forum, like a message
4chan
board.
or
whatever it is. Like I would be on all the like motorsports, like drifting, you know, forums and stuff for like Nissan 240s, and like we would share like random shit in like the random thoughts board or whatever, and just be laughing my ass off. And it sucks when those went away, because like there was like a, I don't know, I guess I'll say sense of community. Like I knew when Nsima Inyang was gonna post something, or like when he did, I knew like your avatar, your screen name, and like all that shit. And now it's just like I don't know who that person was, but I mean it's great that it's all now like you can go to it. Whereas before it'd be like, oh, like fuck, I can't really even share this with you because like you're not on this forum.
But we still got to get used to like learning how to use it in a healthy way, because even though it's so great and like for having a business, it's great for having a business as far as marketing. As a consumer of it, it's hard for us to learn how to consume it in a way that it doesn't affect us negatively, especially younger kids. Younger kids, it really it really can be a nuisance. So, but yeah, overall it's pretty cool. Are we going to call this show the Bottle of Wine a Day Diet? I think that has to be the title.
I think so.
Yeah, fair.
That's how we got here.
That's how we got here.
Yeah, social media is like super addicting. I'm just trying to find something that a friend of mine posted the other day about it. It was
okay.
It was pretty damn sweet, but if I can't find it, I can just kind of paraphrase it.
Yeah. It is great.
Here we go. Actually, you read better than me, so you want to get that up.
Gotcha. All right.
You'll nail it.
Yeah.
Like anything else with addictive properties, one is wise to use social media in moderation, particularly given the fact that inflammatory media grabs more people's attention, even more if it includes fiction, and perhaps most if it's complete fiction. Cave ficta. What is the cave ficta? Oh, James Smith posted this, of course. And that's true.
That's pretty damn accurate, right? I mean, like, just because we know that it's negative, you know, a lot of times you're going to click on that, and then how are you going to do you have a great idea or understanding how to deal with negativity currently? Like, maybe you don't. I'm really excited to talk to Andrew Huberman, because Andrew Huberman on his show and a lot of the stuff that he's promoting and talking about, he talks all the time from the point of habits. And I feel like that's what we've been sharing a lot on this show. But I'd also I'm curious as to what his thoughts are on trying to diffuse things before they even hit you the wrong way by your interpretation of them. And what I would imagine he's going to say is that you can't do that unless you're healthy. You know, you can't even, like, something that comes in that you would have like a response to, what you would want to like fight someone about or get you really mad. If someone has something really insulting to say about you or something, it's very difficult to interpret that any other way if you're currently not a healthy person. You currently don't take care of yourself. You don't get enough sleep. You don't eat well. And you currently don't deal with stress and anxiety that well at the moment. You haven't maybe learned the skill sets for it and so forth. So I'm really, I'm excited to meet him. I'm excited for him to come in here to super training, which will happen in, I think, in like a week or two, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be sick.
Yeah. Whoa! Yeah, you guys are in for it. I'm sorry for yelling into the mic all the time.
That too, but also you got to let me know so I can put that in the calendar.
Oh, he didn't.
Oh, no, well, I haven't confirmed, but okay. It's supposed to be on like the 13th or 14th, whatever that, like Monday or Tuesday is of September.
That's when he's coming here. That's when you're.
That's when he's coming here.
Yep. Okay, so we have to get that final date. Yeah, but that's going to be so good. That man, he has been finding out a lot of new stuff, like the Palmer cooling technique. He's going to bring that device here.
Make your hands cold and lift heavier weights or something?
Yeah, it's something crazy. But yeah, man, Huberman's where it's at. Y'all got to be listening to this podcast if you haven't. You probably have, but if you haven't, go there and listen to that after you're here. By the way, don't leave now.
Yeah, don't go anywhere.
Oh, God.
Oh, fuck. See, now I got to change my dentist appointment.
There's always something going on with his dentist appointment. I thought you had one the other day.
I did. I had 2 in the past like 2 weeks.
Yeah, if y'all don't know, Andrew's been saying like, just like every time he has to go, he's like, yeah, I'm heading to a dentist appointment. It seems like every time he leaves here, he's like, heading to a dentist appointment. Like, is this code for something else?
No. I'll just have to show you guys my temporary and then permanent like crowns. My teeth are all fucked up.
I got you.
All my like fillings that I've had or gotten that are still in there, they're all cracking because like I like clench down too much when I'm lifting, so I'm trying to get better at that. But like the damage has been done, so all my teeth are fucked up.
On the topic of actually clenching down when lifting, do you do that? Like when you lift, what happens here? Because a lot of people, they're like, right? I usually try to relax my face, but what do you do? What happens to you?
I don't think I do anything weird with my jaw or my teeth. I've never experienced any issues with it, but I would say that the mouthpiece that I have for my sleep has really been huge, because it kind of like, in some weird way, it kind of sticks my tongue to the roof of my mouth. And I'm trying to figure out, I'm like, because the mouthpiece was like something that I had to get like an exam for, and they had like fit it special to my teeth and stuff. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, there's got to be an easier way just stick people's tongue to the roof of their mouth. Because my understanding of like sleep apnea is just that or even obstructed airway, is just that your tongue kind of falls in the back of your throat when you're falling asleep, because you're just like super relaxed. And I think there's got to be like a different way or better way to help with that. But the combination of using the mouthpiece, using my mouth tape, and having an eye mask on, which is like a lot of shit on your head when you're trying to fucking sleep, it actually works really good for me. So as much as I don't like to put it on, I'm like, all right, well, if you just enjoy not having great sleep, then just don't put any of those things on. I try to make it that simple for myself. But I might grind my teeth in the middle of the night. That also might be another reason why the mouthpiece has been effective.
And how long have you been using the mouthpiece now?
Probably about 6 months or so.
6 months, and it's made a good substantial difference for your sleep. That's awesome.
I haven't tracked it yet, so I've tracked it with my watch, and I've tracked it with some other stuff, but it doesn't really tell me a ton. But I have an at-home sleep study thing that I can track it with, so I'll do that next, and that'll actually be the real test. You can buy those, by the way, nowadays. They're disposable. They're like $150, I want to say. So it's a little expensive, but for people that have issues with their sleep, like, just Google it, look it up, because I think if you can start to solve some of the issues with sleep, I think for a lot of people, it would make a huge difference.
Absolutely. No, when you mentioned the idea of being able to deal with situations and having to be healthy to be able to actually deal with them in a good way, it makes a lot of sense. Because if you're not getting rest, without you even realizing it, you're just going to be a more frustrated individual because you're physically tired all the time. And if you're physically not feeling good, how do you expect to deal with some stressful thing at work or somebody coming at you the wrong way? Your initial reaction is just going to be, I'm fucking tired. Fuck you. You know what I mean? Like that's you're going to be your modus, your mode of being, because you're not rested, you're not healthy. So
think about even how we learn to deal with each other, how we learn to interact with each other. I remember this as a kid, like, I want to do something or I want to get something, I'm going to wait for my parents to be in a really good mood.
Yeah.
I'm not going to, like, after my mom has told me, like, you got to clean up your room, that's not the time I'm going to say, hey, I want to go, sleep over at my friend's house or whatever like that. I'm not going to ask for any favors at that time. But as soon as I see that she's excited because I did well on a test or something like that, that's when I'm going to, I was thinking about maybe this weekend if I could go hang out at my buddy's house or whatever, right? Yeah, that's where you put that stuff in there, right? And so it makes sense, when you're in a better mood, when you feel good, or when you even are just like well rested, it's easier to take on the stresses of life.
The stresses of life, your diet, sticking to that, it makes it so much easier. So that good sleep would be one big thing that people can fix.
And I think this is like, you and I talk a lot about fasting, but this is where it's really important to make sure that you're not kind of overdoing it. If it prevents you from overeating for the day because you chose to eat an omelet in the morning with some vegetables mixed in, and it was half whole eggs, half egg whites, even though that might have some calories in it, and even though that's not fasting, but you didn't eat again until 3 p.m., you ate 3 times for the day. You ate at 8 a.m., you ate at 3 p.m., and you ate again at 6 p.m. or something like that. If that helped you have a net reduction in calories, that particular style of eating is better for you than previous things that you've done where you failed to keep the calories in check. And so even if you are trying to practice fasting every day, if you fast and then you binge and you overdo it, then you just kind of nullified the fasting. Not completely, but you kind of messed it up for that day. The next day, you might want to try it again. If it didn't work again, then you might have to say, you know what, I'm going to put a little bit of stuff in my coffee and see if that keeps me at bay a little bit better with, or if that holds me more accountable to making better decisions. If that's still not working, maybe you have a couple eggs in the morning, or you just do something. It's not going to really, I know my wife eats this way quite a bit. I eat this way quite a bit. I know Nsima eats this way pretty routinely, and it's like, if you just had something in the morning that's just a couple hundred calories, I don't think you really need to worry about it.
No, I don't think so either. And then I think I know that can also help with your energy levels during the day, just because like a lot of people complain about, and I mean, this used to happen to me too, just because I'd have so many carbohydrates. But if you have like a carb-rich breakfast or lunch, a few hours later or 30 minutes later, then you feel that lull in the midday as far as your energy levels. If you literally just change that to having something with just protein, or protein, a little bit of fat, literally it could be a protein shake, or it could be some meat and some fat or whatever, you most likely will not feel that midday lull. And if you do like carbohydrates, which isn't a problem, save it for the evening. My carbs are always saved for the evening, because what happens after I eat carbs, I am tired.
And it feels kind of fun too.
Yeah.
Like they feel good, like you ran yourself through a lot of stuff for the day. And then now you get to kind of reward yourself with, it sounds silly, but like rice, fruit, whatever it is. But you know, that's just where we're at with our diet. You know, you might incorporate something slightly different.
Or it could just be, you know, your meals in the early half of the day are half a cup of rice, and then that meal at the end of the night is going to be a full cup of rice, because it, you know, like Mark says, it's good to have something to look forward to.
Yes.
Are you like what someone might say, like super strict with your diet? Or like if someone was following you around, would they maybe not understand, because they'd be like, how is he eating that but then staying so lean?
Yeah. So if someone was following me around, like 3 nights ago, I went and I got ramen and some chicken karage, and then I had some boba. But one thing they wouldn't have noticed is that during the day I had 2 protein shakes, and that was it. Right? So if you followed me, you'd see the 2 protein shakes, and then you'd see the ramen, chicken karage.
Depending on what day someone followed you, they might be confused.
They would be confused, but at the end of the day, I don't think they would be, because you would see the totality. Like days that I do, if I had that food with somebody because they wanted to get food out. So if you see the totality of what I ate, it makes sense, because you'll see, oh, he had this, still hit his protein goals, but because he wasn't eating all day long, he was able to have that. And on normal days, when I have my steak or whatever, or eggs or whatever, it's still normal. So I think that if meals are seen in seclusion, it doesn't make sense. Because you're like, how the fuck can you eat that and stay that way? Well, did I eat anything else today? Right? That's the one thing people don't understand.
Yeah, so people were chatting about you in the gym the other day. It was all positive stuff, but they were like, I think he sometimes just eats whatever he wants. And I said the key word there though is sometimes. I was like, he works really hard. Like don't underestimate the value of what he does when he goes to jiu-jitsu, and the value of what you do when you train, and your diet. Like you're on point. But yeah, somebody might occasionally see you eating a fucking legendary Pop-Tart or something like that.
Oh yeah, or in the gym the other day, I think I had Panda Express.
Yeah.
I had some rice and so I had some meat from Panda Express. And if somebody saw that, they'd be like, he eats whatever he wants. Like, y'all don't understand.
He's just got genetics.
I think he does eat whatever he wants.
Let's just go back to that. Makes us feel better.
It does.
God.
Well, no, I think it's funny that like I've never really seen him eat unless it's like, fuck it, we're going all in. I've never seen him like.
Well, yeah, because he's
usually never bring food here.
Well, because he's usually fasting, right?
Yeah. Well, and then when I do, like, when it is something like an eat right meal, you'll have like 2 or 3.
Yeah.
It's like, oh my gosh, dude.
But it's all meat. Like it's all protein and fat. You know?
Point. Yeah, absolutely.
So, yeah,
that is funny.
He eats what he wants.
I just like to say, I just say that he doesn't eat, period, and it's all genetics.
Oh Lord,
doesn't matter.
But no, it all makes sense.
80%, 90%,
85 to 90%.
Yeah.
Like like I don't eat out that often, and when I do eat out, it's not on my own.
And if you, let's see, to go from 265, 270 to where you are now, did you have to be a little more accurate to kind of, or I guess it wasn't really, the jiu-jitsu kind of helped with that a lot, but you have changed your nutrition a lot.
The nutrition was when I started to when it started to make a big difference though. The jiu-jitsu, because of the caloric expenditure, I mean, it got me down to like 255. Right. And I was chilling at 255. But when I got everything as far as like my actual intake, I started utilizing some fasting. I started leaning towards being more low carb, because when I wasn't fasting, when I had quite a bit of carbs in my diet, I would still have instances where I'd be like, oh, like I would eat something that was off plan and be in a surplus because I really wanted it. I craved it. But I went more low carb. I added in fasting. I started eating more high fat, high protein. that's when it became very, very easy, first off, not to yield to cravings, but then to just eat in a deficit and not feel like I was restricted, and then drop those extra pounds of fat to where I am now. So it made that simpler. So the diet aspect of things, jiu-jitsu dropped me 10 pounds, but the diet is what made everything else kind of just streamline.
I hope people really pay attention to that, because I think that's huge, that you got rid of some of the carbohydrate, you brought some of the fat in. If you got rid of the carbohydrate and didn't manipulate your fat levels,
that wouldn't last long. That wouldn't last long at all.
You would feel like shit and have tons of cravings. I just think it's important to point out, like, I think that people are always looking for these outliers. They're always looking to say, oh, well, this guy's got it better than me. This guy's got it easy, or this guy's got it. Yeah, we do have different genetics, you know, like you don't have control over how tall you are, or your body's ultimate capacity for strength, or your body's ultimate capacity for how much muscle mass it's going to be able to hold. And there are certain things that are probably somewhat limited to our genetics, but still, whenever you run into people that are in good shape, and whenever you run into people that that are strong, they still have a body of work behind them. They still have a long body of work. They still have a long history. John Cena was very similar. Like John would kind of, like, I don't know how he like kind of just, he just always knew how to like, quote unquote, like act, you know, he knew to like, play things up on purpose. So like if you went to eat with him, he would just slaughter like, you know, like 20 slices of pizza.
Asshole.
But crazy. You know that like in the morning he had, you know, a chicken breast and like 8 egg whites or something. You know what I mean? He did shit like that all the time, and then people would just look at him and he'd like pull up his shirt and he'd just be shredded, and there'd be like veins popping out, and it would just be like, it would be like gross because his like belly was like distended too from all the food he ate. He's like, oh man, look how fat I am. But it's like ab on top of ab on top of ab with like serratus muscles popping and shit too.
That's awesome, man.
You're just like, you motherfucker. But he loved to do that to kind of like fuck with everybody else, you know?
But that's the thing, that like, that's why people think I eat whatever, because when I do post about food, sometimes I'll post the things I cook, but most of the times it's if I'm out and I have something with somebody.
Yeah, I don't see you posting a lot of healthy food.
Because I barely post food, number one. But when I do eat out,
but it's not,
I'll post it.
All that entertaining or appealing, really.
Yeah,
exactly.
Just always post a fucking steak, right?
It's not great to see a steak on every single freaking story. I mean, Piedmontese is great, but like when people are just seeing steak after steak, it's just steak. But if I go out and I get brunch with somebody and you see that, they're like, oh, he eats whatever he wants. It's all right.
Maybe. You need to get more pictures like that. Yeah, you with stacks of pancakes and donuts and shit like that. Just lean into it. Fuck it.
I think it's more motivating that way though, because if they see you and like, damn, that guy can eat that. Like, okay, first, yeah, there's people going to be upset, but like, I think if you were to post how strict you are on the diet, where it's like no carbs every meal, it's just steak by itself.
Yeah,
it might. I don't know, somebody might see that and be like, well, shit, I'm never going to be able to do that. So I'm not even going to try. But if they see that, like, whoa, hard work actually can get you a fucking stack of pancakes. Like, yeah, let's do it.
Yeah. I don't even like pancakes like that.
How often do you even eat like that?
Crepes
where you eat whatever you'd like, just a couple times, like maybe a couple times a month?
It'll be like, if I do eat out with somebody, it'll be like maybe, I don't know, a meal twice a week. You know, and that's out, right?
Right.
So a meal twice a week, but that's one meal. And even so, when it comes to...
Is there any rules to those meals, or it's just like, depends on where you're going? Or
it depends on where I'm going, but the big rule is it just needs to have a lot of protein. I don't, like the meals I eat out, they have a lot, like, okay, so when I got ramen that one night that I just mentioned to you, I got 5 extra eggs. And that's 5 extra boiled eggs with that ramen. And the chicken thing, like it'll have to have a lot of protein.
And a big reason to keep that protein is to keep muscle mass, right? Like
keep muscle mass. And so I just don't feel super hungry after I finish that meal. So all the meals I generally eat out, like I will get extra meat on everything. I might have some carbs, but it'll always be extra protein. So I feel full and I don't need to eat an insane amount to feel good.
Yeah, that way on the drive home, you're not thinking I should roll to In-N-Out Burger.
Yes. Yeah, exactly.
Which happens a lot when you go out, especially you go out to like a really nice restaurant, like they don't give you that much food. And you're like, how much food do I have to order at this place to get full? Right. The next thing you know, you're ordering a chocolate shake.
But yeah, man, it's but that's the thing. Like I was just talking to a guy today, because he was like, okay, so you know, I want to make sure that I can still enjoy, you know, socializing with friends on whatever diet we do, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, okay, you realize that you just need to have different practices from day to day. Most of the time, you're going to be going from work to home. So you might have the meal that you make and you're going to go home and eat with your wife. Those are normal days. But the days you want to go socialize with your friends, we're just going to fast. Maybe you'll have a protein shake in the afternoon, some electrolytes or something, some caffeine to get you through the day. And then when you want to go out with your homies and you want to get some pizza or whatever, you have the calories to work with. So you can eat that food, but if you're not over on your calories, you're on plan. That's the thing that people don't realize. People think that you need to be eating, like most of the time, you're not going to be eating out and doing all of that every single day. And if you are, that's problematic, right? That's going to make it a little bit more difficult, but you should still be able to do that once or twice a week with a meal if you want to go out with people. And you can also make the decision not to eat that food if you want to. But if you do want to enjoy being with those individuals, enjoying that food, then you just have some practices that allow you to do that and still be on plan. And for me, that practice is fasting into it.
A huge part of the practice that people miss too is that you're not grazing on stuff.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of people, they kind of pick at stuff throughout the day. And I'm not trying to, when I say this, I'm not trying to single out women, but I know for my wife, it's a problem. Like, and I think sometimes for the person in the household that's maybe preparing meals, I think sometimes it can be problematic.
Oh, it's hard.
Yeah, you might be kind of just picking off stuff here and there, and you might not be paying attention. You might have eaten an extra 300 calories as you're packing that lunch. You might have picked off an extra 200 calories that you probably were just eating because you're like, I know that this tastes really good. You know, like I'm preparing these meals for my kids and I know that this tastes really good, so I'm going to eat a little bit of it. Then you do the same thing at dinner and it's like, well, that could be 800 calories. That could be spent somewhere maybe better even. Like you might be able to make a choice where the extra bit of steak that you ate or something like that, or the extra thing that you ate at dinner was more enjoyable, more fun, more filling, more fulfilling, and left you kind of more satiated and more satisfied with the meal rather than kind of, I mean, really kind of, I think that these things are a trick. I think picking at like potato chips and pretzels and things like that, I know what they taste like. I know they taste really good, but I think it's a little bit of a trick. It's a little bit of pleasure for right now, but in the long run, it's going to hurt you. It's definitely not helping you towards any of your goals. It's definitely a huge reason why people are just not happy with the way that they're built.
I have none of that stuff in any of my cabinets. None of that stuff's in the house because when I'm at home, I also get some of those feelings sometimes where I'm like, I wonder what's in the cabinet. Oh, nothing. Okay, I'm gonna do back. I'm gonna go do what I'm gonna do, right? But if there was something, if I had something in my fucking cabinet, I would have reached for it and I'd be, yeah. So I don't keep it there.
And it wouldn't really matter whether it was healthy or not because it'd still be extra calories that you just don't need.
Exactly. Exactly. And that's one of those things, again, that makes all of this much easier, you know, because that happens to us. We'll get those feelings. But I mean, you have stuff like that at your house because you have kids and a wife, so you actually have to fight it. I'm a single dude. It's easy for me. I just don't have it.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah.
Yep.
So
what about so this is what I used to do, and by used to I mean like a couple weeks ago even. But like I'll just make like a better version of it. You know, like we had talked about like Greg Doucette's like recipes and stuff like that. Like I don't think there's really a problem with it. I guess if we talk again about like the zero sugar sodas and the 0 calorie sodas. Yeah, like if you have like a 2 liter of that thing, you eat it, you drink it with dinner, and all of a sudden you're just like, well, I still have a full cup, so I might as well have some like popcorn with it or something. Like that's where I see it can be an issue. So like if I make like a high protein pizza, like that high protein pizza can easily become like 1,000 calories if I'm not careful. But I don't know, what do you guys think? Is that like something maybe somebody might attempt to see if that'll work for them if they're still barely starting out, not somebody that's kind of already turned the corner and has kind of got their shit together.
That makes a big difference.
Yeah, that's really what I was hoping to get at.
Yeah, I would say that you can probably afford to do that maybe a couple times a week. You know, but if you're doing it every day, you might have too much of a case of the fuckets where you're kind of just allowing maybe too many things to come in. I think you have to kind of rationalize stuff, and I think it makes a lot of sense to lose weight in stages. So for somebody that's trying to lose, 20 to 40 pounds, somewhere in there, like it's pretty considerable amount of weight. And so I think that, you know, losing weight in some stages and saying like, I'm going to be strict for the next week and a half, 2 weeks, like that's actually a long time. When those 2 weeks are up, I'm going to use some of Greg Doucette's techniques. I'm going to utilize some things from these cookbooks or whatever. I'm going to enjoy myself a little bit, and then boom, I'm going to get back into it. But I do think that those things can be incorporated. It's a matter of, do you personally think that you can actually control your actions surrounding that particular thing? Because my worry for myself would be like, if you let me eat any kind of pizza, I'm going to start to go off track and eat a bunch of other calories. And it could be from healthy stuff even, but it's still not going to be wise, because it's still going to be an extra 1,000 calories for the day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I think those kind of things are really useful, but I look at so contextually, I look at the way that we do things. If you fast into it, mm-hmm. and it would not be a problem. But building that habit, we talked about deeper on building the habit of fasting on earlier episodes. It takes time, you know, so it's not always that easy for people to do that. So that's why it's like with those things, for me personally, I would cook up the amount that I'm going to eat. I wouldn't cook up a whole pizza knowing that I'm going to try to eat half because I'm going to eat the whole pizza, no. Right? Mm-hmm. So cook up what you know you're going to eat, portion it out. If it's 800 calories and you know that's what you're going to eat, then cook up that. But don't cook up a bigger pizza and cut out the portion you're going to eat, because you're probably going to end up eating the whole thing. That's just me. Like, I know that I can't leave anything. That's a habit mm-hmm. of mine. That's why, like, I enjoy the fact that I don't meal prep, and I don't try to meal prep things out for the week, because I will always pick out extra. I cook what I'm going to eat. I eat it. I'm done.
Something that was really effective for me was to utilize things like that as a side too. So like, I remember when I was doing keto stuff, I'd make like fathead pizza, but I'd also cook up like 2 or 3 cheeseburgers. And it's like, get through these burgers first. And if you're still hungry to eat a little bit more. We had somebody on the show. I'm not a fan of wasting food, but we had someone on the show, or somebody that I was communicating with at one point, that said that like, when they were done with the amount of food that they wanted to eat, like let's just use a pizza as an example, mm-hmm. They would destroy it. So they would eat like 3 slices, and then they would run it underwater in their sink. Now, I'm not a fan of like annihilating your food and wasting food.
I still eat it though.
But right? Yeah, try to get the water off. But like, if you did that with like, say like Ben and Jerry's, right? Like say you ate some Ben and Jerry's, or you ate some cereal, and mm-hmm. you know, you're kind of down towards the end of the cereal, and you're like, I don't want to eat any more cereal. And so you pour water into the bowl, and you're like, I ate a bunch of it, you know? Mm-hmm. Another way of doing that would be just to take the pizza, which it's still going to be good, out of the fridge later, but it's not as good.
It's still very good.
Yeah. Just stick it in the fridge and put it like out of sight, out of mind. Maybe that helps you for that night, just to be able to eat 2 or 3 slices instead of eating all the shit that you mm-hmm. kind of wanted to eat.
Yeah. Now, I just wanted to point this out. Mark, you talked about this on the previous podcast, but just in regards to what Nsima was just saying, this is Ted Naiman explaining how this is the same amount of calories as this peanut butter cup. Mm-hmm. But like, good luck not eating the rest of that cup.
Yeah, right.
That's crazy, but that's so good.
Another thing that happens that you know, I don't really hear anybody usually talk much about, but I think you also end up with like vitamin, mineral, and macronutrient like displacement when you eat other stuff that's not great for you. If you try to Frankenstein your foods, I think you kind of end up in that same category. So if you were to eat like, you know, 2 Quest bars that you put peanut butter on or whatever, it's like, we could say, all right, calorie wise, like it sounds pretty decent, it sounds pretty good, but you just clogged yourself up with a bunch of like corn fiber, soluble corn fiber or whatever. And how many more nutrients would you get, you know, if you ate a Piedmontese, you know, a Piedmontese patty or whatever, mm-hmm. burger, or a Piedmontese steak? You know, it's like you'd get a lot more nutrients that are going to be more conducive towards your goals. But also, I think what happens for a lot of people when they start getting things right and they start finding their groove on what's going to work best for them, they start to fill up their cup for their fat. They start to fill up their cup every day for their protein. Carbohydrates is kind of like, I'm not a huge fan, so I don't really eat a lot of them. you start to fill up your cup for your micronutrients, and it starts to, and even your electrolytes, it starts to like plug you into the fucking wall where you're like, I got endless amounts of energy. This feels fucking good. And I'm not tired and I'm not hungry. It is really, really rare for me to be tired. I'll get hungry here and there. Cravings, like real cravings that I feel like, all right, probably time to act on those. Those happen about every 2 weeks for me, you know? But that used to happen a lot more when I would mess around and I tried to, you know, incorporate different weird foods into my diet to try to skate around the fact that all diets end up coming down to the same thing, which is eating whole natural foods. Even the best bodybuilders in the world, their diet always dwindles down to the same exact thing: chicken, broccoli, and rice every single time, no matter who's doing what. That's what, and white fish, right? That's what everybody eats before they get on stage. That ultimately, it fucking works really well because you're eating a lot of protein. You're still getting in some of your micronutrients. You're still getting in some of your fiber. Keeps you full enough just to hang on for long enough so you can get on stage and pose in those little tiny chunks.
Yeah. Yeah. It does come down to that. But I do think that more bodybuilders could eat. Like, as far as bodybuilding diets are concerned, I think that there are more people that are eating high fat heading into stage. It's happening more and more. Some people are just kind of too scared to try it because they've done what works. But you can get very lean with very low to no carbs, high fat, high protein, and still end up getting on stage looking amazing.
Oh, I agree with that. I think bodybuilders could utilize some intermittent fasting too.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe not
makes
as
it so much easier.
Yeah, maybe not as much as, you know, maybe not one meal a day, but you know, might be more efficient to have like 2 or 3 meals in a day. But I don't think you necessarily need to have 6 or 7 either.
Yeah. When you guys were in bodybuilding prep, did you feel like when you ate food that it rejuvenated you a little bit, or did it not really even matter at that point, like towards the end?
I think personally, because again of the nature of the way that I was eating, meals didn't do anything for me.
Okay.
Because I was eating like 5 different meals a day, and I was splitting my meals up, so they were never substantial. My fats were kind of low. So I never felt really satiated. I always felt like I was just like putting food into a massive tank, and the food was never having a dent. But nowadays, because I do fasting, and like again, if I were gonna get on stage, I'm not that far out right now. And when I had this body composition back in 2015, I felt emaciated. I felt constantly tired. I didn't feel good because of the way I was eating. Right, I had low fat. Now I'm high fat, low carb. I fast so I can have big substantial meals. I don't feel tired or restricted at all. I could prep very easily right now.
Damn. Yeah, that'd be exciting to see.
For me, my experience was much different. I only did 1 show. I only prepped for a real short period of time, so I didn't feel as miserable as many times and as long as Nsima has, who's competed a lot more than I have. What I did notice, though, is that when I had a cheat meal, it rejuvenated me really, really well. And if I had kind of like a cheat / like carb up type thing, I really felt the difference. For the first time, I kind of knew what people were talking about when they're talking about like super compensation or your body just kind of sucking up all the nutrients. I thought I knew what people were talking about because I've had experiences in powerlifting where I cut weight for competition and things like that. But man, there's nothing quite like doing it kind of the way the bodybuilders do it, which is probably overdoing it, the way that a lot of collegiate wrestlers, you know, kind of tend to overdo things as well. But it can be really effective. And I've never felt that way before. I've never felt the way that you feel when you have a really good cheat meal and or just kind of carb up type of thing. And you get in the gym the next day and you start moving around weight, and a 45-pound plate feels like a fucking Frisbee. You're like, I could chop that dude's head off across the room just by flicking this fucking weight with my wrist. Like everything feels so light. You feel so strong.
That's sick.
It's ridiculous. It's weird. It feels so good.
On that note, I will say, like, the times that I did feel like that were when I would have cheat meals. Like that was only when I actually felt like, ooh, when I had a big surplus, if I had to be a big surplus. But normally on prep, I'd just like feel like, but like when Berto would be like, okay, refeed 600 carbs. like, let's have 600 grams of carbs today, I'd be like,
because where were your carbs on a regular basis then?
Usually around 200, 40, 30 to 40 fats.
That's tough.
30 to 40 fats.
Okay. Very dry. Yeah, very dry.
Yeah.
Right.
So then
I noticed a huge increase too in libido from having a cheat meal. Like, I was just talking to Andrew about it. I was like, you ever have like a meal that's
teasing me?
You ever have a meal that's pretty good and been like, hey, where's Stephanie at? That still kind of happens to me here and there, but I think it's from fasting. You know, you fast for a little bit and you have your meal and you're like, oh, my body's good to go. But when you're restricted that much in your bodybuilding prep, all your shit goes way down. You know, it's like the last thing on your mind, which is really weird.
Yeah.
Especially being a pervy dude for so long. You're like, where did that go? And
it disappeared.
But it's kind of nice in some weird way. It's kind of nice because you can get a lot of work done.
I bet.
That's true.
It's like, man, I can actually be like somewhat productive. I'm not thinking about my dick the entire time.
I guess, yeah, that is true, but
it's more of a negative.
Yeah, for me, yeah,
Makes you sad.
Like, I like having my libido. I like it.
Indeed.
I like when you have it too.
Yeah.
But
wait, what?
I know. So then, because both of you are, pretty, not vocal, but what's the word? You guys promote a low carb diet.
Yeah.
But you guys just both said you felt amazing when you went high carb.
Okay.
I'm setting it up. In order to feel that though, do you have to like really go so far the other way to have no carbs and then maybe even be in a really strong deficit to kind of experience that?
I would say mainly there's probably no reason for most people to ever experience that. So you don't really need to even bother with that. Yeah. I'm just saying, like, for me, in going through some bodybuilding stuff, that did feel pretty good. But for your average person just trying to be like jacked and be in shape, I don't think there's any reason to really do it. And I think personally that, you could pick your energy source whatever way you want. You know what I mean? I'm not going to sit here and try to split hairs over what's better or healthier necessarily. For me, higher fat, lower carbohydrate has worked really, really well. And when I say higher fat, I don't want to give the wrong idea either, because I've also gone in the wrong direction with keto, where my fat calories were just like ridiculously high, 250, 300 grams of fat. And now I don't really see a real reason for that, although there could be a day where my fats might be a little higher, but I would say they're routinely between like 100 and 200, and probably very rarely go any higher than that. So I think in general, like what you're trying to do is you're trying to play the long game. You're trying to get in better shape. And a great way to get in better shape is to figure out ways to deal with your hunger, ways to deal with your cravings, ways to make sure that your muscle mass stays intact, which is you're going to do that through protein. Keeping the hunger and the cravings away, you're going to do that through eating fat and protein, because protein's the most satiating. Fat takes long to digest, so it will make the protein kind of sit around for longer. The fat will break down over a period of time. It just takes longer to digest fat. So that can be a huge advantage. And on top of that, through intermittent fasting, you can help gain some control over your nutrition. I just think it's an easier way. But some people love the lifestyle. Some people love eating carbs, and they love walking around with meal prep. I would just rather not have to deal with that. I would also rather not weigh anything or track anything, because I don't need to, because my food choices are good and my frequency of food is low. So there's absolutely no reason for me to sit there and track it when I know that I'm probably within the calories that I need just about every single day. It's nearly impossible for me to go wrong unless I was to make a different choice with the frequency, or if I was to make a different choice with the normal food choices that I make, which are normally from meat, vegetables, or fruit.
One thing I'm going to add to that, and kind of to answer your question, Andrew, like, yeah, the 600 grams of carbs made me feel so good because I was so depleted all the time that I felt like Superman when I had them, but I feel like Superman all the time right now. So that's my mode, right? So I had to be in like, you know what I mean? Like I don't feel bad at all right now with my diet. I feel amazing. every single day.
Yeah, it would
You know
be
what I mean?
like the equivalent of like, hey, you're not going to sleep for 4 days, but that 5th day, you're going to get all the sleep you want. You're
And
going
you
to be
feel
like, fuck,
amazing.
yeah.
Exactly.
Okay, yeah. The question really kind of stemmed from a lot of people saying like they can't get a good pump if they don't have carbs.
Electrolytes.
Yeah, right. Electrolytes. DrinkLMNT.com.
But you're probably usually between what 100, 200 carbs a day, somewhere in there.
No, less. Usually, it's usually 100 or less on most days. And then we mentioned this on days where I wake up and just like, you could feel when you just kind of should add some carbs in, right? Then I'll have maybe 150 to 200 grams of carbs.
What's your main carbohydrate?
Rice.
There you
You
go.
know those Bibigo rice things? It'll either be that.
You'll have like one of those a day.
If I have one of those, it'll be one of those usually. It'll just be one, and I'll have that with some of my steak or whatever I have at night. Or if I want to have a little bit of fun, Costco has like these ramen packet things,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
They're in like a brown package.
They like come in bricks.
Yeah, they come in bricks, and I'll just
Ooh.
sometimes mess with that, and
Those are good.
And yeah, I'll cook that up. I'll just put a bunch of freaking meat in it, mix it up, and I'll eat that.
Is there any fat in there?
I don't think so. There might be like some little bit.
Yeah,
It's a low amount. It's nothing crazy. But I'll have one of those packets maybe if I like. But usually it's the rice.
Yeah, it's good about those BB packs is like you can't overdo it because you're having one. So that's pretty cool.
But even two, it's like 140 carbs.
I'm
right?
not sure. I just remember I saw the calories and I'm like, nah, I'm good.
Yeah,
because they add some oils to it, but
it's just nothing crazy.
Yeah.
Plus, I eat a lot of fat anyway, so it's not. I ain't tripping.
correct.
But yeah,
But you only eat once, twice a day, so yeah.
yeah.
Your phone should, instead of saying think less, it should say eat less because like you don't even eat.
Oh God. Yeah.
Most people, that would be a good cue to have on their phone.
Honestly,
Eat less.
yeah.
Oh my God.
It really would be.
Yeah.
You know, if you like, my wife and I were talking about it, very openly, and she was just like, "My God, I don't think I really realized like." She's like, if I lose 7 pounds in 2-3 days from doing a diet, she's like, that just means I eat too much. And I was like, I think that's a good realization. Like, yeah, a lot of people, not that she's not in good shape, but can she be in better shape? Can she feel better about it? Can she, could someone lose some weight and kind of keep the weight off for a little while, and maybe even have a new sustainable diet at like a leaner, maybe they feel better at that particular body weight? Like, yeah, absolutely, sure you can. So anyone that tries some of the nutritional interventions and stuff that we recommend on the show, whether it's the bottle of wine a day or OMAD or some intermittent fasting or lower carbohydrate, if you find yourself losing 3, 4, 5 pounds in just a couple of days, that's a great indication that what you're doing is working, and that you could utilize these strategies whenever you feel like you need to recalibrate.
Yeah.
Bring them back in. You don't have to be on it forever. You don't have to do the diet forever, because maybe, I don't know, maybe you don't love it, but you can definitely get yourself a little bit leaner. You want to take us on out of here, Andrew?
Yes, I will. Thank you, everybody, for checking out today's episode. Shout out to everybody on the live chat. It was really cool seeing you guys go back and forth. Really appreciate the support. And if you guys are digging this video, make sure you guys hit that like button and subscribe right here on YouTube if you're not subscribed already. Thank you, Element, for sponsoring today's episode. DrinkLMNT.com/Power Project. Links to them down in the description, as well as the podcast show notes. Follow the podcast at Mark Bell's Power Project on Instagram, at MB Power Project on TikTok and Twitter. We're gonna put out a bunch of videos on TikTok coming up real soon that we just recorded yesterday. So make sure you guys go follow.
Without
there.
me,
Well, sir, you were invited, but you were too busy taking over the world. So
my bad.
yeah, we'll do that again with you too. That'll be fun. But yeah, make sure you guys follow there because some cool content's coming out very soon. And my Instagram and Twitter is at I am Andrew Z, the Andrew Z on TikTok because somebody took my damn handle. Nsima, where are you at?
Asshole. But listen up, guys. We've been breaking a lot of like personal podcast records. We've been having a lot of PRs in terms of like monthly listens and rankings and shit. And we need your help so we can continue doing more of that. If you just go to Apple Podcasts, and first off, if you're probably already subscribed there, but just leave 5 stars and leave a review. Trust me, it will help us out so much. Because we're fucking, I mean, we're fucking killing it right now. Y'all don't realize we're fucking killing it.
Everyone's on our hit list right now, by the way. Everybody.
We're going to put people on notice.
Oh, yeah. Coming. And on blast. Oh, y'all are on blast and didn't even fucking know it.
It's hot boy summer out here.
I don't even know. Right?
Yeah.
Right? I'm in.
Let's go. But yeah, go leave us a review, 5-star review, and please leave us just write us a quick thing. Be like, we like it, because I know you do. And Nsima Inyang on Instagram and YouTube, and Nsima Yin Yang on TikTok and Twitter. Mark,
what's some stuff we can do for Hot Boy Summer?
Boy, don't let's not play this game right now. We'll talk about it soon. We'll let the people know what we're going to do for Hot Boy Summer.
Andrew like knows his way around a car, I think. How about we get like we'll do like a photo shoot where we got like, you know, some overalls on and shit like that. Shit. And we're working on.
Why don't we just make a calendar?
Yeah.
Make a power project calendar.
But it's just like the months of summer. That's it. It just keeps going over and over.
It's just Nsima's in focus and you and I are blurred out in the background. Trying to get in the shot whatever way we can.
We're just completely cut out.
Oh god.
The car Nsima and I would take a monkey wrench to would be the Tesla, right?
Yeah.
Because we don't know what the fuck we're doing. But Andrew would be like, I don't think that's gonna do anything for that car.
It'll be like the amazing like picture of like somebody's profile picture, but you see someone's arm around them, but like the person's cut off. So that's gonna be me and you, and it's just Nsima just like right here.
Get Nsima doing some construction work, get a hard hat on him. We
Fake
could
stash.
Yeah, we could do like some Top Gun shit, throw a football around on the beach.
Yeah, volleyball. Oiled up. Yeah.
Oh, oiled up?
Yeah.
All oiled up.
Gotta be oiled up.
Damn.
Sand everywhere.
I have a story about some cocoa butter. I'll talk to you guys about that later.
I can't wait.
No one cares to hear that, right?
No.
Nope, they don't.
No.
I'm at Mark Smelly Bell. Do all the stuff that Nsima said. Make sure you follow us on all our social media platforms. Leave us a review. Strength is never weakness. Weakness is never strength. Catch you guys later. Bye.